If you're in the C-suite or have a stake in commercial property, I've got a question for you. Do you know about the silent financial dream that's probably happening inside your assets right this second? It's something most people overlook, but it's costing you way more than you think. Let's just jump right into the numbers. So, what are we talking about here? How about over $500,000? That's what a pretty standard industrial facility loses every single year to utility waste that it just fails to capture. Seriously, this isn't some small rounding error in the budget. This is significant capital just vanishing into thin air. For way too long, the strategy for dealing with this has been, well, stuck in the past. The old 2009 playbook was all about looking green. Swacking out a few light bulbs, hoping for a grant. But today, it is a completely different ballgame. We're talking about deep systems optimization. Think of it like repairing your building's core DNA. And the best part? It's designed to be 100% funded by its own savings. So let's talk about why that old playbook is so broken. You've probably been there, right? You had good intentions, you invested in some sustainability initiatives, and they were all about massive upfront costs with very, very little to show for it on the bottom line. It was frustrating. Now, here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. Doing nothing isn't a neutral choice. It is an active financial drain. First, your capital is just evaporating through utility waste. Second, your core systems are slowly degrading, which means more maintenance and more surprise failures. And third, and this is a big one, you're facing a huge regulatory risk. We've got over 75 major cities now slapping penalties on buildings that can reach up to 5% of your total asset value. So how do we fix this? Simple. We stop treating sustainability like an environmental hobby and start treating it for what it truly is, a strict, hardcore financial strategy. And this isn't some new fad. This model of pulling profit from efficiency has been proven in the real world since 2008. The whole philosophy behind this is called reliability-centered maintenance, or RCM, and it is a fundamental mindset shift. We're moving away from just managing expenses and, fixing things when they break. Instead, we get aggressive about extending the life and performance of your most critical infrastructure. And this whole philosophy gets put into action through a really clear, comprehensive plan. We call it the A.W.E.E. framework. This is your new playbook. This is how you systematically go in and repair your building's core integrity. So this framework, it's built on 4 pillars of that DNA repair, A.W.E.E. That stands for air, water, electric, and envelope. It's a totally holistic approach that addresses every single critical function of your building, from the very air people breathe to the power that keeps your lights on. Let's break it down real quick. First up, A for air. By optimizing your HVAC coils, we can restore your heat transfer efficiency to 99% of its original factory specs. That is a massive recovery in performance. Next, W for water. You know that mineral scaling that builds up inside your pipes? It's a silent killer of efficiency. It can cause losses of up to 38%. We eliminate that scaling, restore the flow, and get that efficiency right back where it belongs. Then, E for electric. A huge amount of your energy is literally lost as heat inside your building's own wiring. It's just bleeding away. By conditioning the power quality for the entire facility, we eliminate those heat losses. And that directly improves your power usage effectiveness, your PUE, which is the absolute core metric for efficiency. And finally, the second E, the envelope. We're talking about the building itself. Using advanced thermal barriers, we can literally stop radiant heat from ever getting inside in the first place. Think about that. It drastically reduces the load on your cooling systems, saving just an enormous amount of energy. Okay, so a total system overhaul sounds great. But I know what you're thinking. It also sounds expensive, right? Well, this is where we get to the most powerful part of this whole strategy. The financial engine that makes this happen with zero new capital expenditure from you. We call it the 100% self-funding loop, and it's a really simple 4-step process. We start with a low-cost assessment to find and measure exactly where the waste is. Then that data is used to secure funding for the project. And here's the magic part. The entire project pays for itself using the money recovered from your utility savings. Once it's paid off, you're just left with upgraded assets and a brand new permanent increase in free cash flow. But hey, does this actually work in the real world? Absolutely. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to the vice president of arena operations for the FedEx Forum, home of the NBA's Memphis Grizzlies. After their project, he said, and I quote, "We are probably a little bit ahead of schedule on the return on investment." That is the kind of proof that really matters. And look, the benefits go way beyond just saving money on operations. This directly impacts your balance sheet. Buildings that do these kinds of deep retrofits, on average, command a 13.5% price premium on the market, and they see their overall asset value shoot up by an average of 15%.
So really, when you boil it all down, it comes to a simple binary choice for your business. You can stick with the status quo, or you can pivot to a new model. The choice is really between accepting a penalty and creating a profit.
Let's be perfectly clear. Choosing to do nothing, that is choosing a financial penalty. You will keep hemorrhaging capital to the utility companies, your assets will keep depreciating and failing, you will face higher maintenance costs and risk those big financial penalties. This is not a passive choice, it's an active loss.
The alternative path, it's all about capital growth. When you take action, you make critical infrastructure upgrades 100% self-funding. You create a new, permanent river of free cash flow. You boost your asset value. You literally transform a boring line item expense, your utility bill, into an asset that generates a real return on investment. And that brings us to the fundamental question. See, the capital you need for your building's most critical upgrades, it's not new money you have to go find. It's already there, hiding as waste inside your utility bills. So the only real question is this: are you going to keep letting it evaporate, or are you going to make the choice to reclaim it? The logical first step is just to get the data for your specific facility. Schedule your building upgrade priority and assessment report. Think of it as the essential intelligence tool that will show you exactly how much capital is on the table and how you can reclaim it and put it back to work growing your assets.